So I grew up in an industrial Ukrainian city, Kryvyi Rih. It's the longest city in Europe. And my parents, they work for hospitals, so it was ordinary Ukrainian family. I dreamt to be journalist since I was 6, so they supported my dream. And when I was 17, I moved to Kiev and stayed there till war started in Ukraine, like 15 years or something.
Journalism, why? Where was the inspiration for that, or so early in life?
I think at 6 I didn't know what is it, journalism, But my mom, she always like, what do you want to do in life? And I heard that telling stories, it's fun, and telling stories about people. I always liked telling stories. So she just, okay, I can support your dream. And I read a lot of books. I like cover stories. So yeah, it's how it started. So I went to Kiev, and we found a good university for me, and like I got master, and I had good work, job, good life till tragic situation, started.
Absolutely. We'll certainly get to that. But tell me about your career.
Yes,
tell me about what that was.
I worked for a TV channel. I worked for a newspaper. My last job was as press officer for one of the biggest Ukrainian TV channel. It laid off because of war in Ukraine in 2022. I worked there last 3 years, maybe. I was very. It was interesting because I guess I try my job from different angles. Because I work for newspaper, I work for TV, I work as press officer. A lot of stories, a lot of people, and I was so grateful, my mom and God, that I got this chance to fulfill my dream and work and have this job. Because now, like, things change, and I'm learning how to let things go. Because I don't think that I will be able to work in the same position as I did in Ukraine. Yeah, so I met a lot of people. Yeah, it was amazing time, 15 years, amazing 15 years. Yeah. So my mom a nurse, my father a doctor. They were divorced when I was 5, but my mom always supported me, and she gave me, she invested a lot in my education. Now they're in Ukraine, all my relatives in Ukraine, so yeah, I'm here alone. We in touch, of course. I call them every day. We talk a lot about, and sometimes I think even for them being there, they supported me even more than I maybe should support them there, emotionally, first of all, because my mom, she cares a lot about what I'm thinking about, how do I get through all these things. Yeah. Because, I heard a lot about States a lot before war. I had some friends here, but I never thought that it would be like that when I came here, To blend in, it's a little bit hard. Yeah, especially when it's unexpectedly, when you don't, plan it. So, yeah, it's a little bit different.
Sure.
So, yeah, I have a brother. He's with my mom in my local city. Okay. He can't, leave country because he's a man, and men are not allowed to leave since 18 to 60.
Right.
So, yeah, and my mom, she's work for hospital. That's why she's allowed to leave, but it's all about what officer would say, because she's a nurse and she may be useful in, serve to her country. That's why it's a little bit complicated.
Yeah. And is your dad like your brother? Is he not able to use
My dad, he will be 60 this year, so he could leave country. My brother, he can't leave because he's 20. Yes, so he just can't. He's not drafted because they draft people from 25 until.
But he's young enough to potentially one day.
Yes, exactly. So they can't let him go.
Let's go back to 2022 around that time. Yes. Before you moved, talk to me about just especially being in news. What was it like feeling like something was coming, or what were the conversations like with your family in the newsroom? Kind of backtrack for me, and what was that time period like before the war started?
I was surprised that everything that I heard about war that's gonna come, I heard from the States, from my friends from the States. Even being in Ukraine, of course, people watch news, especially news abroad. We talk about it just what if? Nobody was sure, and everybody hoped that it's never happened. And I was the person who never believes that it happened because it's 21st century, middle of Europe. It's impossible. It's what I said. I'm a journalist, and I was like, no, my mom never believed in it. So I didn't pack anything. I wasn't prepared. I didn't like thought about like money or anything. I just lived my life. I remember very clear this night when it started. I was very busy whole day. It was my last, I guess, shooting. I went with my photographer, and he started talking about the thing, like, do you know where I'm gonna come? I was like, no, it's not true. Stop it. Stop this depressing things because just have fun. Let's do our job. He's like, no, do you know this Olympic Games in China? And Putin, he's a good friend of Chinese president, and they have a deal that after Olympics game will be over, they will invade Ukraine. I was like, it's too complicated. I don't believe you. And yeah, Olympic Games were over, and Putin came to Ukraine. So I remember this night very clear because, as I said, I was busy and I went to bed very late, like 3 a.m. even, and I couldn't fall asleep. I felt like not okay. And at 5, I guess, approximately, my friend from the States, she called me. She's like, Valentina, wake up, it's war started. I was like, I don't believe you, it's 5 a.m. I just fall asleep, please call me later. She called me again, like, no, get up. And I just opened my eyes and I heard that outside of my apartment building, I heard it, this explosion, so far away from me, but I heard it. It felt like fireworks, like because it was February and this holiday season and stuff, and it felt like it's fireworks. And I couldn't believe in it. I called my other friend, and I said, like, it's a war. She said the same, like, I want to sleep, please. It's 5 a.m. I was like, no, get up. So yeah, that day, I spent whole day watching news. As a journalist, honestly, I don't do it very much. But on my government, they said that everything under control. They everything will be okay in a couple of days, weeks. And I believe it, actually. It's too naive. Yeah, but that day, finally, I felt like, okay, maybe I should pack something, pack my backpack or something. So I packed just my passport, some things like that I could pack in my backpack, my laptop. And I went to spend first night to Subway because our mayor said that it would be better for people to stay in a subway or in shelter somewhere. And I slept in a subway. So many people were there. I was surprised because I never seen Ukrainian people so united. It was interesting for me because people care about each other. Like everything was. It's sad that things like war show you what colors, what true colors. And after that first day, it was February, so cold, so I felt like, okay, one more night. And I spent like maybe a week like that. And it was so cold, Ukraine, very cold country in February. So I was like, okay, I'll go back home and stay there because I'm done. It's too exhausting. And I went back home. I bought a lot of food, I remember, because it was after COVID time. So we had COVID restrictions, and it's war. So it was a little bit chaotic. And I remember I started like surfing my Facebook, and there was some friends who crossed the border to Poland from Ukraine walking. And they described their stories, and I felt like it looks so easy. And they're in a safe place, and they're fine. And it's just for a couple of weeks, so I'll be back in a couple of weeks. And I called my other friends, said like, let's do it together. Let's go together to Poland. It was just so unexpected. I never planned it. And she said, no, I can go, but you should go alone. And I felt like, I don't know, how is it? So I went. I got to railway station. It was really interesting because it was like 3 p.m. and we had already curfew in Kiev. So if they catch you in the street, they may arrest you and keep you whole night somewhere. And I was so scared because I didn't know what to say. This like military will ask me questions. But thank God there was some volunteer who drove me to the railway station, and I got to train and went to Poland. it was interesting because usually get from the closest city to Poland, Lviv, it takes 2 hours, but in that train it took for me 28 hours. Yes, I never forgot it, because it was just small train that usually there is usually like 200 people, but at that time it was like 400 people, women, kids, everybody crying, 28 hours. It was, I think if somebody would tell me that I'll do it, I won't do it. Yeah. But when you're in it and you don't expect anything like could happen. So I came to Poland. I had some friend in Warsaw, and they invited me. So I stayed there like months, and then my friend from the States, she invited me. And that was a time where wasn't this program U4U for Ukrainians, it was different. We went to Tijuana, and we should cross the border walking from Tijuana. Again, if somebody would tell me that I'll go walking from Tijuana to the States, I would say no, because I didn't know what Tijuana is when I was in Ukraine. But thank God we made it, and yeah, so it's how I got here. So they knew my friend who invited me, and they trusted that person. And my mom, she's like, okay. And there was a thing that friend, she not just invited me, she asked me to help her family cross the border from Tijuana, because that people, they didn't speak English at all. But when you cross the border, we need to have this interview with border officers. And there was a woman with 2 kids, and they didn't speak at all English, So they need me to help them. And yeah, that was the plan. I never planned actually to stay so long here, and I just came to see my friend because, again, I believe that war will be over in a couple months, and like just see my friend, help her. As I said, the most sad and maybe beautiful thing about war, that you don't expect anything, you're not ready for anything, you just accept things what it is,
right.
And you just trust God. Yeah.
So where did you first come to in the United States?
First, it was Colorado.
So that was Colorado.
Yes.
Okay. That's before you came to America.
Yes.
I know you had a friend in America, so that obviously was part of the reason.
Yes.
But what was just some of the perception? Why did you feel like coming to America, even if it was just for a friend, why would that be good? Why would that be safe? What was it about America? Just because had you been to America before here?
No.
So yeah, what was just your perception, or why did you feel like this would be just a good move for you, even if it was just a short visit?
Again, I haven't seen my friend like 8 years. Yeah. She never. So I knew her from university. We met when it was like.
Sure.
She's a journalist too. She's Ukrainian, and she got married. And since she got married, she never back to Ukraine. So I never seen her. And she had kids, so I miss her very much. She was my best friend. And I really want to be helpful. Actually, it's now when I talk to Ukrainians, and what I feel, it's when so many people around the world try to help you, you have this like, I want to be useful too, So you try to like be useful here, there. You try to ask people like, what can I do for you? So it was part of the plan, I guess. And maybe in Ukraine, it's in the middle of Europe, so I travel a lot to European countries. So for me, it was okay to go to some new place, meet new people. And I didn't have any expectations about States, again, that I would stay here for so long. So, and I always had this feeling like everything will be over soon. It's just vacation. Yeah, actually, first 6 months is what I said. People saying like, how long you plan to stay here? I was like, it's a vacation. I'm in a vacation. But when my company laid off, when I watch news every day, it's not like vacation anymore. Sure. It's interesting. Again, I had a lot of friends from the States. I had friends in California from Peace Corps. That people here, it's really interesting and amazing how God works. Because I had a teacher at university 15 years ago. I attended his English classes, and we became friends. Actually, he was the first person who introduced me to American culture, because he was in Kiev. When he was in Kiev, we visited him when he celebrated Thanksgiving Day or some holiday, American holidays. And he was very friendly, and we were in touch all these years. So we have mutual friends. And when I came to the States, of course, I don't have anybody here, and I have some friends, but in different states. And Ukraine in the States is very different, because if you have friends in another city in Ukraine, it's very easy to get there or to see them because it's smaller. States much more bigger, and it's pretty complicated to see people even if you come for visit. So yeah, and I knew that these people from Texas, my friends, they're here, they always ready to see me, they're always happy to meet me. And I met them, I met Carol in Colorado. She came to visit her friends, and we had some coffee, and she's like, oh, it would be great if you would come over to visit me to Texas. I felt like, yeah, well. And we planned this like in March, and in May I'm here. And I'm so happy because it's really helpful when you meet and visit people from that life. It's what I always say, like that and this life. Because 15 years, you can, if somebody would tell me 15 years ago that I will be here in these conditions, like that, yeah. But that people, they help to just feel things like, it's okay, like don't be in a rush, like to reduce this anxiety. So it's very helpful. Now work for Ukraine remote, actually still. Yeah, I kind of keep my journalistic job, but I guess it's just because mentally it's hard to let it go like that, because 15 years, it's a lot of time. When you invested like your time, your money, everything, your dream in something, and you just let it go. So yeah, it's helpful, but I'm thinking that if I plan to stay here, and I think when I watch news in Ukraine, I know everybody knows that it's not for a couple of weeks, not even for a couple of months. Right. So it's time to just move on and live your life wherever you are. Because first year I had this feeling and idea that I'll go back home, everything will be like that, like the same like it was, but it would never be like that. And it's now I finally accept this idea, because a lot of my friends left, and people in Ukraine, they changed a lot. Everything, streets, kind of like cities, it's different country, I guess. We still have this spirit, mentality, we're strong, but it's not like it was before war. And I like states. Finally I see things, nice things, good things, inspiring, something inspiring here, people. Yeah, so I don't know. And that's a problem, that because as I said at the beginning, that I knew that I would be a journalist since I was 6. I never had this problem in life that I have to choose, I have to think. I always had this dream, I had this goal, and I just achieved it. So now when people ask me, what you want to do in life? I don't know. Not because I don't want to think about this. No, I spend hours thinking about this. But I don't know. And I think when I think about goal and what really encouraged me, because as I said, I never did work just for money or just because I have to do this. I always did it on purpose because I like it and it was useful. So now I want to be useful. And I would love to work with refugees, with Ukrainians, in communication, because it's what I know for sure how to do. And thank God my English is not so bad to work with people. Yeah, just be useful. Yeah.
That sounds like an interesting middle, like working with refugees here in America, like that, where then it's still connected to Ukraine, but you're finding something a little more stable here.
Yes,
and especially something that would kind of mix the two things for you.
Yeah, especially when you got through a lot of stuff and you know how to deal with this. Because still, when I meet new refugees, new people from Ukraine, I see me and them, how some of them can deal with some like psychological issues, some mental thing, or just regular life stuff. Some of them can't. So, for example, that family that I came with from Tijuana, they went back to Ukraine already. Other friend, she came here from Kyiv. She just spent 4 months here. She back. I mean, it's hard for people to deal with different culture, especially when they don't speak language. Sure. You know, it's for kids. if somebody comes with kids, it's so hard. So yeah, that's why I feel like, and it's always good for people when they get through something complicated to meet someone who definitely understands their feelings, not just like, oh, I can help you, like, you say, I know what you're getting through because I was there.
Right.
And yeah, as I said, first 6 months it was so hard because I don't drive actually still. Yeah, and it's complicated because in Ukraine we have good public transportation.
Right.
And
Very different here.
yes, exactly. If you don't drive, you just, I don't know, you can do nothing. You just stay still.
Right.
So yeah, but you have Uber, very good Uber in Dallas and in the States. I use it. Yeah. So yeah, I think just be helpful, and it's actually sometimes when I have this interview with some potential employees, they ask me why you wanted that job. Just because I want to be useful. I want to be like part of society, not just because I'm in need, just because I want to change something. Like even in some tiny stuff, when I change it, it's part of something global.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so my hometown, it's near occupied territory.
Okay.
And they have a lot of refugees, like from occupied territory. It's completely different compared to me, for example, as a refugee here, because that people, they got through a lot of stuff. I have some friends who spent like months in occupation. It's changed completely your personality. And my mom, she worked for hospital, and as a journalist, I still have this journalistic job, and I know a little bit more than like Americans, for example, see in news.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, what Russians do, I don't know. I think you would talk about evil, we always talk about that evil, this mean, those it's pure evil. I mean, there is no even, not like excuse, there is even no reason that you can understand, because as a journalist, I always try to understand both sides. It's what about journalism, objectivity, but here, no, I think I would never understand someone who just come at morning like that to my apartment and said like, knock knock, I need your apartment just because I need it. It's what people hear when they ask me about war and like try to understand how to solve this situation, how to deal, how to achieve peace. I don't know how achieve peace in that situation, because I don't see any option except to just fight till the end for Ukrainians, because it's pure evil. Yeah.
Now, you were talking to me a little bit before we started recording. What are some, since you got to the States, what are some misconceptions just about Ukraine in general that people just didn't know about? And you talk to them about
it's happened last year, I guess. I visited my friend's wedding, and I made a toast. And there was a girl, she came to me later like, you did it in Russian, right? I did it in Ukrainian. I was like, no, it was Ukrainian. She's like, oh, Ukraine, it's part of Russia, right? And I felt like, no. And I look at her, and she looks so nice. I mean, and I just felt like she just doesn't understand. So I have to explain. Thank God I had enough patience, and I explained like that's why when people think that Ukraine part of Russia, Putin came, because he thinks that it's part of Russia. And I explained to her, she apologized, and I understand that a lot of people have this misunderstanding of situation, and it's fine, because before war I wasn't like too much interested in like international conflicts in other countries, because it's like not very like related to you. But I'm always ready to explain, and I'm happy when people ask about that about language, that Ukrainian language is like Russian language. No, and I always say it's more beautiful. You just have to compare to hear this. Yes. So it's not because Ukrainian in my language, just because it's very melodical. It's really different. It's beautiful. And Ukraine never invades other countries. It's actually what makes us like this difference. Our nation was always peaceful. It's always about negotiation, about conversation. Even we have it in our mentality. When we try to have conflict with my neighbor, for example, I would never like come with like aggressive stuff. I will just, okay, let's sit and talk. I'm not sure about Russians. Like the way how we deal with our problems, it's peaceful way. And we're in the middle of Europe, so for us, historically, it's very natural to talk, to find solution like in a peaceful way, because we have so many neighbors. Maybe that's why now Ukraine like ask for help, like to other countries, go to other countries, because hey, you are our neighbor, because historically we used to defend you, because if we look at history, we know that like centuries Ukraine was in the middle, and we stopped like all these like other nations who try to invade other countries. Right. So now we need help, and it's so natural for Ukrainians to be good neighbor and expect the same back. Yeah. No, unfortunately, I think at the beginning I tried to like talk them into this, but of course I knew that my brother can do this, my uncle can do this. I talked to my mom, but she believes in the Ukrainian army. It's what she said. Like, it's my country. I'll not like let it down. I'll not give my house to someone just like that. So, and a lot of people, especially now after 2 years, they really believe that I am here just because it's my home. So this moment when everybody was afraid and a panic, it's gone. Now everybody who stays there just because they feel it, like it's my home and I'll not go anywhere. So yeah, I was big enough, I couldn't stay there. And I'm okay to accept it because people are different. Because even now some people say, oh, somebody left, like betray. But it's not. We're just so different, and it's what makes us different from Russians, our enemy. We accept human beings who they are with their nature. We are different, and it's okay. So I think I'm not strong enough to stay, but people who stay there, my friends, for example, my colleagues, I'm very proud of them, because, like even last couple of weeks, because Russian attacked a lot of energy, like system, Ukrainian energy system, so they have blackouts and it's hard situation with electricity. They're still there. It's hard, and for my mom it's hard, because she got a couple calls from military office. They want her draft to go to war, even if she's 56. And yeah, but when I talked to her, I don't know, as I said, she supported me much more than I should maybe. Because when I call her, like, I'm so tired, it's hard to be here, because without family, and especially without work, that like you could be busy, like American work, be part of society, it's harder. Because in Ukraine I was always busy, and I like this life. But here it's different. So my mom, she always can find the right words, like, okay, you should stay there, it's safer. And I very appreciate it. I love Texas. I was surprised because I didn't expect it. It's green. And compared to Colorado, it's more humidity here. People, I mean, I think people everywhere, good people. We have good people and not even depressed people. I don't want to say bad people, but yes. And that city, Dallas, for example, it reminds me of Kiev a lot, because you have a lot of parks, people walking everywhere, you have coffee shop that I missed, I guess, very much, because in Kiev we have this culture of coffee, of walking, parks, people like outside just have fun. And this Sunday I found Orthodox church here, because Ukraine is Orthodox country, so it was very important for me to find that community. I have it in Colorado. And I found here very good Orthodox church. And it was so interesting when I came there on last Saturday. There was a priest, he's like, welcome. And I felt like, yes, I'm home. Yes, and then after church, I just thought like, it was uptown of Dallas. And I felt like, wow, it looks like Kiev, park here, park there, and coffee shop here. And I felt like I'm home, you know. And I was surprised because I didn't expect that it will be like that. So I walked and I lost in the city. My phone died and no GPS. And I just enjoyed this loss. You know, I just walked and I didn't know where I could get, but it was an amazing day. And I guess I didn't have anything like that since maybe last year, or when I came here even, this freedom. Freedom, just be where you are and enjoy it. you know. Yeah, so Dallas, Texas, it's a really beautiful place. Yes, it's actually what war taught me, don't plan things. I'm still learning, but yeah, I think it's about work, more about work, because as I said, I used to be busy in Kiev, and it's important for me just mentally. But when you're busy, when you're useful, when you do right things, because you can find friends, I hope, everywhere. Or even if they're still in Colorado, for example, I have good friends there. I'm sure that I can visit them, and it's 21st century. People, if they're really close, especially it's about Ukrainians, if you became friends with someone, it's like forever, bond forever. So yeah, I think yeah, I would love to come here just because it reminds me of Kiev so much. Yes, I'm just grateful that so many people they like try to help, and it's, as I said, if there were no war, I would never even had idea that so many people, strangers, they can help you, and Ukrainians united, like strangers, like Americans, I would never meet so many good people just who came and say, okay, I can help you with this, I can support you with that. And it's just wow, you know. And you want to give back something. So yeah, and I'm grateful this country, of course, because when I remember when we crossed the border from Tijuana, it was like adventure because you don't know what to expect. And these people, these officers, they just, because it's, for Ukrainians before war, it was hard to get visa to the States. It was a long, complicated, expensive process. And I actually never tried because I knew that I will fail maybe. Because like I don't have much friends who got this visa if they're not about like up to their work. So when we went to this Tijuana and we talked to American officer, they just asked some simple questions like, do you see that you, like, because it was humanitarian parole, we had to leave in a year. And he just asked me, are you okay to leave in a year? I was like, yes, I will leave. He's like, okay, you can go. But I don't know, do you know about that? When I came here in May, I found out that I won green card in lottery. So that's why, yes, so it was the other thing that I thought like, because in my life, I always try to follow and do things on purpose. And when I came here, in like 3 months or 4, I felt like, oh, state's so complicated. I don't drive. Because when I just came here, I didn't have even work permit. It took like almost a year. And I felt like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't have work in Ukraine, so I was lost. Yeah, like you lost a lot in Ukraine, and here you don't have anything, and like all doors looks like closed. Because I have couple offers actually working with refugees in Colorado, but they asked me about my work permit. I didn't have it, and I said like no, and they said okay, you get it and come back to us. So in May I checked this lottery, and we found out that I won this green card. Yeah, so I didn't leave in a year. I stay a little bit longer. Yeah.
How does the lottery? I think I've done a story on that before. How does the lottery? How does that system work? How did you even find out that you won that?
It's really fun, and it's not funny, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
My friend from the States, who never visited her family in Ukraine, she invited me every year come to visit her. But I always say like, I'll not get a visa. It's hopeless. And she's like, okay, let's do this lottery thing. Every year I did it.
You did. Oh, okay.
Every year. So I never won. And it was a year when I won when war started.
Wow.
Yes. And so I didn't even expect, honestly, because when she checked the result, she's like, let's check it. I was like, again? We know that it's never happened. Why? I just want to go back. And I remember we were in her house, and she was in the sunroom, and she started yelling like, you won, you won. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it was a long process how I got it later, because usually people get it abroad when they win it in their countries, because it's for foreigners, right? Here it's completely different process. It was complicated, but thank God I did it, and yeah. That's why when I found out that I won it, I started asking myself questions. What if it's the purpose? What if there is something that I don't know, I don't see this God plan, you know, like, because it's always like that. So yeah, it took me like a year to get it, because all this process is so long. somebody say like, oh, because you're from Ukraine, you want it. But no, because her other friend came visit her too, and they did the same thing with her every year too, and she didn't. Like we checked her result, yeah, she didn't win it. And yeah, it's what I'm thinking. So when I got this green card, it was last July. I felt like, okay, I accomplished this. I have this goal. I mean, it's fine, but what next? And now it's the biggest dilemma for me. What next? Because it's really hard to be here for me, dealing with like no family, you know what I mean? So last holiday season, it was really tough. Because you guys have long holiday season. Like from November till.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was, first year it was fine. You don't know what to expect, how is it? And second year, last year, it was really tough. You like, people celebrate Christmas at church and they back home, and you back home, but you alone. I mean, I love my friends, they're amazing, but it's a little bit different. Yeah, even in Ukraine, I didn't have my family, I wasn't married, but I always had a lot of stuff to do. I visited my parents. It felt different. But here, you just came back home and you're alone and you like, what I'm doing here? Why? So, yeah, for me, it's the toughest. And that's why, as I said, when I meet someone, some Ukrainians who got through the same thing, and they tell me, see, when I see new Ukrainians, they always tell me the same thing. It's about food, different things. And I know how to deal with this. And I try just be helpful and say like, I know how is it, and maybe you try this, try that, this thing, that thing. And it's helpful, I guess, I hope. I don't know if I would be alone here, for example, just completely alone. Yes, or just refugee with volunteers, like a lot of people in Europe, I know. No, I think it will be harder. But I'm with my friends. I try to help them in some way if I know that I can, because a lot of them have family, kids. You know, I love kids, so I'm always ready to spend time with them. I love to be helpful at my church in Colorado too, because it's community, it's a big community. So yeah, it's like every month, every even year, it feels more like home in some way, because actually it's what I talked to my friend recently. Like I never felt that you can find close people, close friends. Because usually we used to think that if you're friend with someone, it takes like decades or years, right? But here you can meet someone, you know the person almost 2 years. And it's like you're part of your family, you know, like your relative. And you even, if this person didn't do like something epic, he just someone with whom you share values, who just cares. Yeah, that's important, because sometimes you meet people, they always ask, how are you? It actually was very interesting, because in the States, people do it all the time. How are you? But in Ukraine, when we ask, how are you? I mean, like, I really care. How are you? So that's why here, when I was in Walmart, people ask me, how are you today? I was like, I'll tell you. And I start telling all my story. But it was wrong, but yeah. So I think, yes, friends, they're really helpful, and new friends too. So I'm learning how to trust. It's important too, because in Ukraine, I had friends whom I knew 15, 17, I mean, all my life. And here, when you don't have relatives, it's hard too, because, for example, last Christmas, I bought so many Christmas gifts just for all my new friends, just because I felt like I have to, like, you know, celebrate like I did in Ukraine, because I don't have so many relatives here, but I have good people here that I want to like hug in some way. So yes, yes, and it's interesting, because I knew about States something from movie that people usually know about States, but when you got like blend in this culture, it's different. It's country much more deeper, I guess, than people used to think abroad. And yeah, as I said, people think about Ukraine in some cliche stuff. So it's the same with any culture, I guess. So I'm grateful, God, that I met so many good people, nice community, Carol, Dave, a lot of people. Really, I was surprised when I came here. I thought only about one friend whom I knew from university, but every year I go to visit someone in different states, and I'm just surprised, because that people whom I knew like decades ago. I mean, who I met a lot of years ago, and it's interesting to see their life and to know them better. Yeah, I don't know. Life's so unpredictable, and as I said, war is horrible, but through this thing, you can see true colors of people and life as well.